Summer is heating up in Salem, but Days of Our Lives spoilers for the week of June 29, 26 lack sizzle. Love Days of Our Lives? Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so you never miss a shocking spoiler, breaking news update, or dramatic Salem twist. Summer has traditionally been a time for Salem barbecues, lakeside drama, and stories that'll hook teen viewers. Sadly, Days of Our Lives spoilers for the week of June 29, 26 offer 4th of July fireworks but little else. Although there is movement in some stories, it feels like a lot of the spoilers are the same old thing, but hopefully, these events will be better on screen than they sound. This Smith Island drugging story would be more interesting if it made more sense. Days of Our Lives spoilers for the week of June 29, 26 promise that Johnny will get roped into EJ's cover-up while Sarah and Brady continue investigating what happened on Smith Island, and Sarah doesn't know if Holly will survive whatever happened to her. I'm not sure when Holly is supposed to leave Salem, but I believe it won't be until the end of the year or the beginning of 2027, so this threat to her life isn't as exciting as it might be. Besides, there are already super obvious plot holes in this whole scenario that keep distracting me every time it's on screen. For one thing, from what EJ and Rita said, the tainted narcotics were buried on the island, making it likely they got into the water supply. Yet this all happened 2 years ago, and there have been a million visits to Smith Island since without anyone else getting poisoned. Plus, all the kids swam in the island's water, yet only Holly got sick. And to add insult to injury, Sarah's talk screen showed narcotics that Holly claimed not to have taken, but no traces of arsenic, even though that's exactly what the drugs were tainted with. The theory is that the buried drugs contaminated the water supply and Holly ingested Coracil without ever knowing she was being exposed through her own environment. But if contamination reached the surrounding environment, including the water supply, Salem could face a public health crisis of epic proportions, yet so far, only Holly is sick. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just thinking too logically about a world that has no logic to it. But still, it's hard to suspend disbelief when there are this many problems with the plot. I'm also really annoyed that EJ overheard Sarah and Brady talking about investigating him, because they were doing it at the nurses' station, where anybody could overhear their top-secret conversation. EJ overheard Sarah and Brady talking about Holly getting sick on Smith Island, which is how he connected the dots. This allowed EJ to get ahead of the investigation instead of being blindsided, a classic soap trope that feels lazy here. Holly's theory about Sophia adds another layer. There is one more layer to this. Holly Jonas is convinced that Sophia is still alive and has been giving her Coracil deliberately. Her theory isn't crazy. Sophia's body was never found, and spoilers have kept the door open on her return. If Holly is right, this is not an environmental contamination story. It is a targeted poisoning. That would explain why only Holly got sick, but then we're back to the question of how Sophia could have poisoned her without anyone noticing. Fans on message boards have been debating this too. One fan noted, Holly was drinking only water, and a lot of it. The other teens were drinking alcohol, among other things. While they may have also had water, but not as much water as Holly drank. Another fan pointed out, EJ said these pills were accidentally contaminated with arsenic, so that's why they were supposedly destroyed. EJ's cover-up continues to unravel. The Coracil cover-up may finally be unraveling. Johnny has been quietly investigating the manufacturing side of DiMera operations, looking for a specific file. EJ doesn't know exactly what his son has found, but the timing could not be worse. Johnny poking around the manufacturing records while Xander reconstructs the paperwork from outside is a two-front problem closing in on EJ from every direction at once. When the full scope of this comes out, EJ DiMera does not lose a board vote. He loses everything. This is not a situation where DiMera quietly handled a problem. EJ knew the drug was contaminated. He knew people had died. He buried the evidence and destroyed the paperwork. Family celebrations and new alliances. The week does include some lighter moments, including Trey's first birthday celebration with the Carvers and Prices. However, this is Salem, so even birthday parties come with complications. Marlena reveals her fears to Belle, while Jada and Sean finally give in to their feelings. Kristen and Gwen also form an alliance that should terrify everyone in Salem. Two women who have been underestimated at great cost to the people who did it, now pointed in the same direction. Meanwhile, EJ discovers something has gone wrong on Smith Island and asks Johnny for help. Whatever he found is too big to handle alone. Meet George O'Halloran. We'll also be meeting the mysterious George O'Halloran, portrayed by Michael Rose. He's the head of Demera Pharmaceuticals who buried the company's batch of arsenic-tainted pills on Smith Island. If anyone has answers, it's him. He can explain why he buried the pills where he did and how they came to poison Holly. The question is, though, will EJ be able to keep in front of this before it blows up in his face? If George tells him something dire happened at Smith Island, that's going to be tough.